Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on best practices and lessons learned for implementing 3D Experience. This is Marc Young here with XLM Solutions, and I'm joined by our key customer, S&C Electric, and Mike Lubin, who will be co-presenting with me and honestly probably doing the majority of the talking here, and then my colleague also from XLM Solutions, Ilan Madjar. With that being said, let's get started. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Lubin. I work for S&C Electric Company. We are headquartered in Chicago. And I want to start out by saying, a few things about S&C, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself before we really dive into this presentation. So S&C is a provider of commercial grade electrical equipment and services for the nation's power systems. We also support power systems throughout the world. We started out in Chicago, but with growth of the company, we have a world, sort of a global footprint, and that's been, that's really, happened over the last 20 years, where we've seen a lot of our expansion. And so now we have not only just customers throughout the world, but we have multiple design and manufacturing facilities throughout the world, providing I'd say fantastic jobs for about 3,500 people. And this is all in support of S&C's many customers. So personally, I've been working for S&C for about 25 years, which I think many people would agree by longevity standards. That's quite a long time. However, I do consider myself much of a newcomer to the company, even after 25 years. Just a fun fact, it was about a year and a half ago, we had the longest serving team member at S&C. Now remember, S&C is 100 years old. So if I were to take a poll and take some guesses here, you probably think that it would be maybe 30, 40, 50 years. But that longest serving team member was retired after 63 years of dedicated service. So that's is I think pretty significant, and is very telling of the company. S&C is also 100% employee owned, which is something that occurred about 15 years ago. So we're very proud of that. My job at S&C, I've made a career out of engineering software. My background is in engineering. I also have a background in computer science as well. So engineering software and PLM has really defined what I've done for S&C. At the start of my career, I was a sort of a developer, business system analyst, doing a lot with CAD, CAM, PLM, finite element analysis, supporting, configuring, doing all those things. As you'll see, we've invested heavily. S&C has invested heavily in PLM technology and functionality. And for the last 10 years of my career, I've been managing the team responsible for all of this. So I started out as an individual contributor and moved into management and overseeing the work of the team. So we have a big investment in this. The team is called Engineering Systems. We're part of IT, and it's been as I said, it's been a great place to work. S&C does invest not only in technology and in development, but also invests in the people of the company, which I think is a very significant part of working here. So outside of my day-to-day responsibilities, I also volunteer for several internal boards, such as a diversity and inclusion board, as well as a philanthropic board that handles sort of employee-sponsored giving, and donations and other events. So next, Mark, next slide.
Yep. Or S&C products or
S&C products, yes. So a few words about this. What you're seeing on the screen here are products that are pretty core, and it's a good sampling of what we have, but it's not everything. These are the types of products that protect the electric grid and keep the lights on. So that's important for everyone. You want to when you start out your day and you want to turn on your computer, you have to have power. It's going to become today in today's world with remote working and connectivity. It's important that we have good power quality. That's where that's what S&C has been focusing on. Many of these products that you see on the screen are considered assembled to order. So we have a number of options that are predefined for our customers. But really the makeup of our business is about 70% engineered to order. And this is significant because we've in terms of this presentation and telling you about our PLM system and that implementation, we have a lot to support that engineered to order business, because we will, as a colleague of mine, former colleague of mine used to say, products such as our metal enclosed switchgear, which is in the lower right hand corner of the slide. We will do anything for our customers. We'll customize. If you want a Buick welded to the top of one of our products, we've never done that, but that's just to illustrate the extent in which we'll go. We customize internal components. We can customize shapes and sizes, software, colors. We have a customer. One customer wanted switchgear in a certain shade of pink, and we have accommodated that change. So this is a key part of our strategy at S&C has been in use of the PLM system to manage the complexities of design and change management for highly customized products. So this is where we have made a big investment in PLM, and I'll tell you a little bit more. I'll tell you a lot more about that in the coming slides. So Mark, you want to take the next one?
Yeah, quick view about XLM Solutions. For those of you who do not know us, we're a complete PLM solution provider. We've been around since 2005, so we bring many years of experience to the industry, both in our technical expertise and our business expertise. So obviously we can provide great technical solutions, but also are providing business recommendations and consultings on how best to configure a PLM solution, for your business. We are a Dassault business partner. We're also a SolidWorks certified service company. We truly dedicate ourselves to always being on top of the latest technologies, newest trends in the PLM industry, new best practices, et cetera. We always want to stay on the forefront of the leading edge of what's out there and where PLM is going. And obviously this presentation will give you good aspects of how we've helped customers implement PLM, but we really implement all aspects of are involved in all aspects of PLM implementations, everything from discovery workshops, needs assessments, general implementations, customizations, integrations, data migrations, training, and support. All right, Mike.
Okay, so thanks, Mark. So what you're going to see, in terms of what we've done with PLM at S&C is that and this also, I just want to say a few things about the relationship with XLM. We've gone back, being both S&C and XLM being involved in PLM, the PLM industry and awareness. We actually have known our, the work that we've been, each company has been doing for a long time, and therefore XLM has, has also known about, S&C's use of PLM, and it is in, the last, I don't know, the last 5 or 6 years, I think we've been really, that's where we've been working the time period we've been working the closest together. Is that right, Marc? It's been about 5 or 6
Yes,
years?
yeah. I mean, we've probably
Yeah,
known each other in various
yeah,
companies, well, through by, not 2000, 1999, but we've been working heavily together, you know, on your previous implementation and now on 3D Experience since 2015, 16, 17 timeframe. So, but yeah, we've been working together for 20 plus years. When I was personally back at Dassault Systems. So,
that's right. That's right. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I forgot about that.
yeah,
Um, yeah, so that was in the early days of Smart Team, which we'll talk about shortly here. So I want to just sort of get into, get it up front. What are we doing with PLM at S&C? And what PLM, as I said a few moments ago, is part of the engineered to order business model that we have that really is a significant portion of our business. Looking at the numbers, we're supporting over 400 team members in engineering, manufacturing, production planning. All of these folks use our PLM system daily. It controls millions of items, bills of material. We have engineering documents that we store in the system, and because of that engineer to order business, there's a lot of changes that have to be communicated to our manufacturing system. We're using Oracle ERP, and just to give you a sense of what the number of changes we're making every day, we have engineering change orders that we are creating constantly, resulting in 50 to 60 new ECOs each day, with many of those ECOs undergoing multiple revisions as designs evolve from early requirements to the final build of our products prior to shipment. And that's it's an important thing, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later. But the way we handle ECOs is also significant, because we can at S&C we can transfer multiple changes on the same ECO multiple times, and we'll talk more about that later on how that that is done, and why that's important. Marc, you want to move to the next slide?
yep.
Okay. So to dig in a little deeper into the use of PLM, what does it do for S&C? And I'd say much of the functionality is around management of manufacturing BOMs. So MBOMs, we have that's really at the core of what we do, and that's a big part of that engineered to order business. So we have within the PLM system, it's used to convert solid edge design BOMs into those MBOMs. Then we use ECOs that are maintained within the PLM system as the vehicle for transferring changes over to our ERP system, which I believe I just mentioned was Oracle EBS. Due to the nature of the engineered to order business, a single ECO may be transferred multiple times to ERP. This makes and this is done for a very good reason. Many of our products, because they require special components, some of those that are not high volume components, may need long lead times before they may have long lead times before final assembly. So what we tend to do is we start with initial design. We add those long lead time items to the ECO. We get those into Oracle for either internal fabrication or procurement from outside of S&C, and that happens long before the final design is done and ready to build. As part of this management of bills of material, we also manage the 150% BOM all the standard options that are used by our sales configurator in Oracle. So we are, when we define a product, we build every option, every sort of every standard option to that bill of material, and then we use the PLM, the integration between PLM and Oracle. In this case, for sort of configuration of products, we're using Oracle Configurator Developer. So we take that 150% BOM, we transfer it over to Oracle, and then within Oracle Configurator Developer, that's where rules are applied to that bill of material, and then the sales team can use it to configure both standard and custom orders. So this has been a key part of our PLM Oracle environment since we implemented Configurator Developer about 15 years ago. So let's see, what other things do we do with our PLM system? Within PLM, we created a process and functionality that is important, is requested by our manufacturing team, because oftentimes something goes to the shop floor to get built, and then there's an issue. So we've created a feedback loop using engineering production support requests that allow the shop floor to communicate back to directly to engineering through PLM. These PSR, production support requests, is a common term usually associated with IT support, but in this case, S&C has something dedicated within PLM to manage these requests. My final thought on this slide is we have besides being able to create and maintain bills of material, PLM is important for S&C because it allows us to apply some business rules and validation to the work we're doing, the bill of material management, that we are not able to we wouldn't, if we were doing the bill of material entry and maintenance directly in Oracle, we wouldn't have that necessarily that ability or the flexibility that PLM offers. So for example, if we have a business rule that says, well, we need a drawing item within our bill of material, our manufacturing BOM representing what needs to be built, and that drawing item has a particular quantity, in our case, 0, it has to be defined as a bill of material is transferred to Oracle. We can actually pause that transfer, notify the user and say, hey, wait a second, where's the drawing item? You need to include that in the bill of material before you can move this on to Oracle. So we have many rules such as that, and PLM is important to it gives us the ability to do that and to impose these rules and validation. Next slide.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the talk a little bit about the history of PLM at S&C. We started out back in around 2000. We needed a PDM solution for managing solid edge structured data, very similar to other CAD tools out there. Solid edge has a hierarchically structured bill of material made of all different files, parts, and pieces. And in the early days of use of solid edge, we were handling designs purely on network drives, and that had bandwidth limitations and storage limitations, and just sort of sharing of files became difficult. So we started looking for a solution, and out of all the options at the time, Smart Team had got our attention because they had a multi-CAD. Their software was supported multiple CAD platforms, and they had a solid edge integration, and that's how we started out using Smart Team back then. And then a few years after that, we were making a transition from our homegrown ERP system, which was an IBM-based system, to Oracle E-Business Suite. And one thing that we recognized is that user experience and quality of bills of material would be vastly improved if we if we were to utilize some of the functionality in Smart Team, which gave us the ability to, graphically build a bill of material, or, we could also build some import routines to manage bills of material. So then, that's when we made this shift in how we managed our MBOMs. And, we built functionality within Smart Team to allow us to do that. Part of that was, part of that implementation was that we needed to build some bridge into Oracle. And there was some Smart Team functionality that had an integration, but we wanted to do more with that, and we wanted to build validation, and we wanted to transfer certain items, and we wanted to transfer ECOs multiple times. So we invested heavily in this, and this has become a significant part of our business, and frankly, we feel it's been a business differentiator for S&C. So that's all I really want to I have to say about this. Marc, why don't we move on? Oh, actually, there is one thing. You might be scratching your heads and wondering, for those of you that are familiar and maybe do your bill of material management within your ERP system, okay, so we had this graphical, this interface of Smart Team, and that was important because for anyone who has possibly used Oracle e-business suite, it is it can be very very challenging from a sort of a user experience to be creating bills of material, to be making changes within that, and it's a lot of manual entry that goes into the forms. And Smart Team gave us that helping hand, giving the a very easy user experience and graphical user experience for bill of material management. So let's carry on, Marc. So the next slide, yeah, yep. Smart Team replacement. Okay, so at it was back in 2014, 2015. We began to see the writing on the wall that Smart Team would not be around forever. At that point in time, it was clear that the Dassault Systems was making it a sunset product, and there wasn't really a lot of new whiz bang functionality that was being implemented in Smart Team. It was being maintained, of course, but at that point in time we realized, hey, we need to do something, and without some of the things that we realized were needed at S&C that Smart Team could not offer, we had to look. We also thought, well, there's also opportunity here. Not only can we, should we look to be replacing functionality that we have in Smart Team, but we should look for other things in PLM that where we can expand its use, and that that would include things like engineering bill of material management, which had some we did some of that is in terms of the solid edge bill of material in Smart Team, but we really saw that we could do more. So we began a very thorough analysis. We looked at many of the major systems available at the time, contemporary PLM systems, and we spent a lot of time on this. This was a very important decision because it would shape our our PLM work for probably the next 20 years, and that's so we had we looked at many of the major players. As I said, we selected 3DX because it had a lot of functionality that we saw was important. It had connectors that were similar to Smart Team. It had an Oracle, it had something that was pre-built for connecting with Oracle and Solid Edge, but it went further to include other integrations that we did not have within Smart Team, such as AutoCAD and integration for the Cadence PCB design software, or CAD. So as you can see from the timeline here, the PLM migration, and as you can probably imagine, is no small feat, spanning 5 to 6 years. We initially rolled out 3DX using Designer Central, which was the sort of the current thinking, or that was at the time that was the what was available. and that was that was dipping our toes in the 3DX waters. And we implemented some connectors for AutoCAD and ECAD. But then as we began planning the migration of SmartTeam, Dassault came to us and said, well, we have a new strategy, and this new strategy is called Unified Product Structure. It's a major shift in data model, and we're going to be rolling out some new connectors with that. And so as we as we heard about this, we decided that we were going to take it in that direction, because that Dassault was telling us this is where this unified product structure data model is where the future is, and that's where all the development is going to be going. So so that's where we headed. Mark, next slide.
So obviously this is where we helped S&C implement 3DEXPERIENCE, but it really was a team effort. It takes a village. So there were multiple players from various parties involved. Obviously, S&C Electric had a team, as Mike is managing, to manage PLM and CAD S&C. So they have expertise within their team that working at that specialized in solution architect, development, business system analyst, understanding how the business worked, would work closely with the solution architect to come up with how things should be designed in the platform. Obviously, there was also a dedicated S&C project manager to the project to make sure things happened on time, on budget, and dealt with the normal issues, risks, etc. that comes with any type of major implementation. Also, which was key, was S&C definitely had its executive level support. This project was well viewed and reviewed by the executive team, and there was various executive and stakeholders meetings throughout major milestones of the project. From the XLM side, we also brought to the team project management and technical coordination. I would say from a project management point of view, S&C really handled that, but from a technical coordination point of view, we at XLM played a key role in that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later, but really making sure that the resources working on the project technically knew what the other resources were doing, making sure if one person was working on one aspect, the other resource knew what to expect from the other resource to make sure everything, all the everything got glued together properly. So there's really a lot of work just technically coordinating the solution together. In addition, we had solution architects, infrastructure specialists, programmers, migration specialists, and database experts. And then there were other players too. So ITI or Wipro was a key player in developing the Oracle integration between 3DEXPERIENCE and Oracle, which Mike has been talking about. Dassault provided resources, to augment, various technical and business meetings, workshops, etc., with the whole team. And then S&C's resellers, Adaptive, Razorleaf, and obviously they, were as their reseller, involved in licenses and SR or system request or issue management when issues came up. So how we worked, and as mentioned, really the project started 2016, 2017, and that was pre-COVID. So we were actually coming on site, once a week or every other week, and we would meet in, I'd call it the war room, in a special area within the S&C's offices, and have various whiteboards up there, and really spent a lot of time on the whiteboard, drawing bomb structures and other graphs to mimic how the current SmartTeam system was working and how we wanted 3DEXPERIENCE to work. So a lot of time on that whiteboard discussing how things should be set up. Through that, we could review existing processes and see how things should be changed and approved, and also discussed, because S&C is new to 3D Experience, how 3D Experience works. So it's also a educational process as well. So not only we're talking about how to make things work, but discussing the behaviors of 3D Experience, so S&C can make those proper decisions of how things should be configured. COVID hit, so those on-site visits, came to a halt, but we were able to easily transition to working remotely, and we still had many daily, multi-day calls, emails, chats, etc. So, moving from a more of an on-site implementation to a remote implementation, which is very common, was very easy to do. The key was obviously, and I go back to the technical coordination, making sure the resources knew what to work on and working on it the right way. So, we really never wanted to get into a situation where someone thought they knew what they needed to do, and then they would come back and say, "Here's what I did," and it wasn't the right thing. So it was constant, coordinating, validating, and making sure the work was being done the right way. And obviously issues came up. So when issues came up, through again daily emails, calls, chats, etc., team sessions, we could bring them up and then be able to address them quickly. We had weekly meetings as the larger team, so there is and still is a weekly meeting between S&C, XLM, and DSO to discuss the project, discuss issues, discuss need for new licenses, etc. I'd also say there was a pretty good balance between management and technical resources. So it wasn't too management heavy, it wasn't too technical heavy. It was a good mix to make sure everything was done efficiently as possible. With the project, there were definitely times where there's certain milestones, certain schedules that we felt were very aggressive, and a lot of times the answer was, well, can we throw more resources at it? And I think it's true statement. It's more resources doesn't make it go faster. It's having good resources that will make it go faster, because the more resources you have, the more coordination you need to do. So making sure you have good quality resources and good coordination is really what I think makes the project move and move as fast as possible. So the coordination makes sure the resources are doing the right tasks, they're not wasting time on non-value added work, and if issues are arising, they can see them initially and bring them up front, so we can work together and figure out how they can be resolved. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about actually what was done at S&C. So I'll hand it back over to Mike.
Okay, so just one more word about the past couple slides. With as you saw 2 slides ago, there's a number of companies that were working together on this, including DSO and XLM and and ITI and so. But what's significant here is that I think that has really helped our project is the relationships that have been formed and maintained. And we found very good things, particularly with XLM, in listening to us and advising us, along the way, because certainly there were a lot of technological hoops to jump through and things that we had to wrap our heads around. Particularly going from Designer Central to this UPS data model and 3D space and how all of that works together. So that was having XLM to help us along the way and advise us and tell us what's where things are going and help us learn about what's the underpinnings of of the the technology, and kind of bridging our gaps in knowledge significant. But the relationship has been a key part of that. So Marc, let's go skip ahead to the interface slides. Yeah. So what you see here is and in the next few slides, I'm gonna step you through some of the features of the PLM implementation. This particular slide, this may be familiar to some of you. It is built in 3D space. This is showing an indented bill of material, how it manifests itself in the 3DX interface. And as I said, while this is a 3D space interface, the underlying data model is UPS. Now, as we progress as we progress throughout this project, we realize that there's going to be a need to make another sort of leap forward, and that is moving away from the 3D space interface and more of a widget based which is sort of the newer way of doing things. That on the widget side, the widgets have not been as mature as we've needed them, allowed as much configuration as we needed them. We know that that's we're headed in that direction. Dassault is headed in that direction, and we are learning on how to build our own widgets, and a lot of that knowledge is coming from for S&C. A lot of that knowledge is coming from XLM, and they are they're helping us along the way understand how to make that transition. So next slide, Marc. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about change actions and sign-offs. One of the change action is actually our vehicle that gets we use change action and ECO synonymously, and that's the ECO is that vehicle that gets changes over to Oracle to our bills of material, and we attach items and bills to the change action, and then we also use the change action to track progress of those items and BOMs, because we want to with multiple orders, multiple customers, multiple design teams, all having a hand in design. We have come up with a way in which we can manage all the different roles, the various roles that have to participate in bill of material creation and maintenance. We use something called sign-off attributes, and this is it's how we track work content. And this is something that we started to do in Smart Team, and we've since as we've migrated from Smart Team to 3DX, we've implemented in 3DX as well, and it really tracks a per item work content for all the roles of the contributors that need to provide that content. And this is we thought many years ago about using workflows for individual items, but that became a little too sort of too heavy to manage, and it wasn't seen as being very efficient. But we found that these sign-off, handling it through attribution for items is a very good thing to do, and that makes the tracking simple. And these sign-offs are sort of a companion to every ECO that we process. Next slide, Marc. Okay. As I've said multiple times throughout this presentation, Oracle integration has been key. It gives us that it has enabled us to make our PLM system the primary for bill of material creation and maintenance, and all of those changes that we make. And when we introduce new items and bills of material, all of that is handled through the integration between the two systems. And as I said before, this integration also allows us to add business rules and validation. So there are some things that we've identified as important, before we send a bill of material over to Oracle, that we check and we keep users informed of what's happening. So what you see here on the screen is just some of the how the interfaces relate to each other, the information you see in Oracle versus what you see in 3DX. Next slide.
So I think this is just going over some of the things the Oracle integration is doing.
Yes. So for Oracle integration, we have we have many things that are happening. It's not just a matter of sending something over to Oracle, and it really is not a simple process, because what we're trying to do is with the integration with Oracle is we've been trying to make sure that the information we have to enter into Oracle is as simple as possible. So we have in a single click within PLM, when we say send this over to Oracle, assuming a change action and all the bills of material pass the validation rules that we have up front, then there's a lot happening behind the scenes as new items are created. Templates are being applied, the ECO is created, items are attached to those ECOs, BOM changes are noted, effectivity dates are set based on business rules, balloon numbers and reference designators are applied. So there's a lot of heavy lifting that the integration does in order to create the data in the right places within Oracle. And this is sort of that a very it's not only provides quality data within Oracle, but it saves time, because having to enter all of that and do those steps manually, which I have done, it's very time consuming and tedious, and can be error prone if you're keying in the wrong numbers, or wrong part numbers, wrong quantities, whatever. Anyway, Ilan, Marc, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Okay.
So catalogs, I don't know, Ilan, do you want to jump in here, or want me to talk about it?
Yeah, sure, I can talk about it and you guys can add, but obviously, as Mike mentioned earlier, the catalogs, or what S&C refers to as 150%, the 150% BOM. It's tied to the Oracle configurator. So a lot of the data model here is aligned with the Oracle configurator, and we have used the IP classification, or classify and reuse from the user standpoint, to manage that. What you see here is in 3D space, simply because we started very early, and the dashboard app, the widget, was not very mature, but today you can do pretty much the same thing through the dashboards. And we chose to use the IP classification because it was a good way to basically manage the different options and things like that. For those of you who are not familiar, IP classification is just a module which provides an efficient way to manage libraries, classes, data classification in a collaborative environment. So we basically have like the model. Under the model, there's the option, which is, do I need this option, yes or no? And then under that, there's option phantoms, which are really the collector of the physical parts. And what was interesting about this is that when we had to move this over from SmartTeam to 3DEXPERIENCE, we did it in 2 phases to make it easier on the business to transform. So we first moved the management side, the IP classification management, to 3DEXPERIENCE, but the parts were still in SmartTeam, which was easier from a business standpoint, was harder for us from a migration. And then when we started bringing the sites, data, the parts from Chicago, Toronto, and so on, we had to bring it over, but also associate it to the right, basically option phantom. So that was more of a technical challenge. I think we overcome successfully. But yes, we've used the IP classification, and this basically allows S&C to insulate a lot of frequent design changes from frequent changes on the configurator, make it easier, so they don't have to do too many changes on the Oracle configurator side. Yep, that's it. I don't know, Mike, if you want to add anything.
Yeah, certainly. Certainly, the some of these slides we can have entire presentations on. Besides the business need and the use of or using this functionality for our 150% BOM, what is I believe is significant about 3DX that wasn't true of SmartTeam. SmartTeam had a very flexible platform. We could pretty much build whatever we needed to support the business. But with 3DX, we found that there was out of the box functionality that could support this, and this being the classification manager being one of those. So out of the box functionality. Speaking of out of the box functionality, Marc, you want to move to the next slide?
Yep.
Okay, so PSRs, which is as I mentioned, is that feedback loop from the shop floor. We call these engineering production support requests, and they're handled within 3DX. In this case, the PSR or the functionality that we're using within 3DX is the issue management within Innovia. And then there's also some other things, I can probably, find maybe a half a dozen other things that are, significant to our implementation that are out of the box. Another one is routes. We also have an approval mechanism on ECOs that is the, more traditional PLM workflow. And that's not shown here, but that's another example of out of the box functionality. Moving on, next slide, Marc. So the solid edge power buy. This is that this ties in with the with Dassault's change of strategic direction, where they recreated all of their CAD integrations and other connectors using the power by I don't know what you call it, the how they labeled that, at least in terms of how they're how they differentiate that from Designer Central from years ago. So we are we're going to be deploying the final, even though I didn't give a very thorough timeline here, we have completed most of the migration of Smart Team functionality to 3DX. We're doing all the items bill of material management. We're doing PSRs in 3DX. The final phase is really the document management side. So this is the last piece, and in about a month and a half, we will have completely transitioned data and use of everything that was in Smart Team over to 3DX, and we will, we'll be shutting off user access to Smart Team. So it's a pretty significant milestone for us at S&C. And so the Power by connector is the one that we are going to be rolling out with the the final document migration piece of the PLM project. Moving on, Marc, I think we're on E2M widget, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So this is a custom development. Ilan and Marc may have something to add, but what this is doing, this is a tool that allows us to take an engineering bill of material, our solid edge, right now it really what engineering bill of material means at S&C is the solid edge bill of material, and convert that to a manufacturing bill of material. And we're using this widget. This is custom built, and it's where as I said, where the future of our system and the user interface is in using widgets. So we're learning as we go, and we've been able to show that we can we can make this happen within that 3DX user interface. Now the thing that I want to mention here is that on our roadmap is we want to enrich that engineering bill of material beyond just what the content that comes from Solid Edge. We want to be able to add PCB designs for Cadence or CAD. We want to add non-CAD items. We want to really enhance, as I said, enhance and enrich that engineering bill of materials. So this will be a significant piece of functionality as we add content to that EBOM and help us update and maintain MBOMs.
And I guess I would add there is an out of the box widget to go from EBOM to NBOM, but after evaluation that did not meet the requirements at S&C. So that's where we decided to develop our own widget to provide the specific business rules and requirements that S&C had to handle that EBOM to NBOM creation. But I'll move on. So data migration, as Mike said, probably again could do a whole presentation on data migration at S&C, but we did migrate data from Smart Team to 3DEXPERIENCE. The first phase of it, or multi-phased, was the MBOM information from Smart Team to 3DEXPERIENCE. Now, I don't know if we got into it, but there are multiple sites at S&C. So it was an incremental migration per site. We would migrate from basically the smallest site, and then they would go live, and then wait a month, and then go to the next bigger site until all the sites were migrated. Part of that, as Ilan mentioned, was this catalog data migration classification. It was a subset of the migration activities. Chicago is S&C's largest site, so there was close to 1 million items that needed to be migrated in over a weekend. And we developed custom tools to migrate the mass data and merge it, and also merge data from Oracle ERP into 3DEXPERIENCE during that migration. Each site, had slightly different business rules and roles. So as we went from smaller sites to bigger sites, the migration rules and technologies and number of objects got more complicated, but it was good because we were able to build upon all of that. And definitely we implemented various technologies to support loading data in parallel using multiple JVMs, Java virtual machines, various multi-threading to support that mass migration. And now we're on to migrating the solid edge data from Smart Team to 3DEXPERIENCE. As Mike said, that's starting in production now, and probably will take a month plus to load into it. So we again ended up developing our own migration tools to handle it. We could talk about various out-of-the-box tools like XPDM to load data, but it did not support solid edge. So we developed a tool to migrate the CAD data, non-CAD data, viewables, CGRs, attachments, etc., into 3DEXPERIENCE, and it's estimated around 1.15 million objects and revisions will be migrated to 3DEXPERIENCE with all that CAD data. So whoever's interested in that migration, let me know. We can talk about it in more detail. So we're coming towards the end of the presentation here, but let's talk about general issues with it. Like anything, there was technical issues. Dealt with bugs, service requests we had to open up with Dassault. Obviously when those things happened, it would take time for resolution. Look on workarounds, see when Dassault would come out with fixes for them. But it's part of the project you need to deal with and plan for. Performance issues, dealt with that as well. One of the key performance issues that we've dealt with and are dealing with is the XLE tool for indexing the data. It takes a long time to index, so figuring out how to reduce that time to index and making it more stable overall. General Oracle issues, we're dealing with lots of data here, millions of records. So, we've dealt with this Oracle database issues, not necessarily ERP issues, but database issues dealing with disk space, performance, various database settings to, deal with how many connections can be connected to the database. Definitely ran into issues, but, we'll discover them, fix them, and move forward. With anything, again, we had multiple development environments, test environments, quality environments, and then finally the production environment. So having a good process in place to move changes, code, setting, etc., from one environment to the other one is key. There were times where we would, move development changes over and then realize, not all the changes were moved over or something got overwritten. So having, we've improved this process a lot, but having a good process to do that is key. And automating it as much as possible is the best approach. So through proper DevOps and whatnot, a lot of that can be automated, but it takes time, money, and effort to get that in place. And then changing the requirements, like any project again, you're working towards requirements, and then you realize whether because it's a business change or realize feedback from the users that requirement needs to change, and that causes rework, retesting, etc. to make that change. But like anything, it's part of the project. It's normal to the course, but does cause impact to the project. What worked well, I'd say, and as Mike alluded to it, we really worked as a good team. We were always honest and upfront and had open communication. S&C would communicate to us their key milestones, when things needed to be done, why things needed to be done, and we would communicate to them why we think things should take longer, why we need more time, why we need more testing, etc. So we really didn't hide any issues. When possible project slippages would happen or other key concerns, we definitely communicated it and worked as a team to come up with resolutions. And definitely having that strong technical coordination in place to make sure the people worked on the right things at the right time was key. S&C is coming, from 20 years of PDM PLM experience. They've had Smart Team, since 1999 or 2000. So they have a lot of knowledgeable PLM experience, and we could really start talking the talk right from the beginning, of how things should work and behave. So having strong team members and very knowledgeable team members was very helpful. We were able to work in an agile method, so we would get some requirements, we would develop something, we would show it, we would get feedback, we would make change and kind of go through that agile method until it was completed. And everyone was really dedicated to the project and seeing it as a success. I mean, this took a lot of work, many long nights, weekend work, dealing with issues and finding resolutions. So everyone, put in the time and the dedication to make it happen. And, hard work pays off. So that's what we have to show for today. So, those were the working well points, I would say. In conclusion, Mike, why don't you take it away?
Okay. Before I get into this, I think, which is my final slide, I just want to make sure that the audience here knows and is clear this. Well, it actually is the first bullet here. The Smart Team to document 3DX document migration. The documents that we are storing in Smart Team, I'd say 98% of them are solid edge data, and that's those are the documents that we've been managing in Smart Team. Since it was introduced back in 2000. We've added some others along the way, but the vast majority of solid edge documents is the data that's being migrated. So we have some other things here on our roadmap. If you recall, I mentioned that we started out with Designer Central for some AutoCAD and ECAD integration. That was actually in terms of how we decided to go about this. We kept that as a separate production environment because we didn't want to mess with what was going on for those users. So we have to circle back on this one, and we have to get that functionality migrated over to what is now our primary instance, our primary production instance of 3DX that's based on the UPS data model. So we have a project that's coming up. We'll be looking at other things like expanding PLM use. We're going to look at Delmia, some of the manufacturing, the simulation, the execution functionality that's available, and how that works within our Oracle PLM ecosystem here. Then we want to really do things that we either didn't have the functionality or the time to do in Smart Team. In the last 5 years, we want to implement a global ECO process using the routes functionality in Innovia, and that's significant for S&C as we've grown as a company. We've also, some of the ways we worked as a smaller company don't work as well anymore, and so there are a lot of engineering teams that see 3DX as the solution to the such things as the ECO process, as well as many other many other challenges as a global company. And then we also have purchase component data control, which is something that, as we get closer to, the completion of the Smart Team migration, there are teams coming out, from all angles asking for new functionality to their, to solve their business problems. So we're going to be using 3DX for that as well. We want to do things such as, integrate a new costing design process into, 3DX, and how, we might be able to leverage, and be able to, leverage integration with Oracle to, while we capture costing data in 3DX and possibly pass that downstream into Oracle for, our accounting folks. So looking at that integration, and most recently we're looking at, how we can implement tolerance stack up software. And I'd imagine we'll have some sort of integration where we're storing that data in the PLM system, and it could be part of that engineering bill of material, that enriched engineering bill of material I talked about moments ago.
All right, well, with that, thank you. We can open it up for any questions. I know we're right at the hour, but we can stay here to answer as many questions as you have. Also, you have our contact information below. Feel free to reach out to any one of us directly if you want to follow up directly or have any specific questions. But with that, I think we'll hang out for a few minutes and see if any questions come up. Right now, I don't see any. There is one I see. It says, what would you say was the hardest part of the implementation? I don't know, Mike, if you want to tackle that, or I can give my quick thoughts.
Well, thinking back to the initial planning phase, and trying to navigate between the designer central approach versus the UPS data model, is really concern about how are we going to do this? Is it going to work? And how do we manage this? Particularly in how in the rollout. So we've went back and forth a lot, and should we do should we do everything, migrate everything at once and try to to eat the elephant all in one bite, or do we break it up into smaller pieces? And so we sort of went with items in bill of material. We found that we could do it in smaller chunks, and mitigate some of the risk of deploying too quickly to the engineering teams at the various locations. So we broke it up by engineering organization, or manufacturing organization, that is. So we did Toronto, and we did our Franklin team from Franklin, Wisconsin. We had then we did Chicago, which was the largest part of the items migration. But then we got to the document migration, and that we just found no way that we could slice and dice that one into, because of the nature of the structured data and sharing of components across all S&C organizations, CAD components. We decided that we could do that one as one big piece of the project, and get everyone moved over from Smart Team doing document management in Smart Team for CAD documents over to 3DX. And so that's it'll be a global deployment in a month and a half from now.
Yeah, and I would say one of the challenges is you have 20 years of PDM functionality in a legacy system like Smart Team, and users say, well, I want it all in 3DEXPERIENCE. So it's like you almost get stalled. You can't, where do we start first? And I think the key thing is breaking it down to smaller, manageable parts and working at it a piece at a time to get it done. Don't get overwhelmed by the big picture. Just break it down into different areas, and understand it's going to take time, and like the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. So it can be done. It's just, half the battle is just breaking it down into manageable parts and handling each part together. So it can be very overwhelming, but if you can look at it, in bits and pieces, you can handle each bit in piece, and then they all go together. Another question here is this on-premise or on cloud? And then it talks about the database, what type of database, and any replication happening. So this is an on-premise environment. Again, could have a whole discussion on cloud or the public cloud versus on-premise, and the pros and cons for each. But because of the unique requirements that S&C had, we needed a on-premise or a environment that was not the Dassault public cloud, so we could implement the various configurations and customizations S&C needed. So it's on premise. There's multiple servers running the technology. The underlying database is Oracle, so we are using Oracle. We're not using SQL Server, and that's because one of the reasons is S&C is more familiar with Oracle and has been running Oracle in-house for many years. And then there is file replication between the different sites. So, they have different sites between Chicago, Franklin, Wisconsin, Alameda, California, China, and Mexico. So I believe, if not already, there is file replication between replicated FCS stores between the different sites.
Yeah, that was a big change for us, because with the Smart Team environment, we had to have database replication, and in order to support that and maintain it and keep the whole system happy, it took a lot of effort. And going to a centralized, a single instance of a centralized database, and being able to support all the various sites throughout the world from that database, that was significant to us. It's just you'd probably be amazed at how many servers we've had to maintain from Smart Team throughout the world, having little farms of servers at every site, and that that added to our administrative burden and just complexity. So we've reduced complexity in some ways, going to 3DX. The file collaboration servers are still seen as are necessary because of the nature of the CAD data and the size of files that would have to be transferred over the the wires. That's
All right. Well, that looks like all the questions for now. We'll hang on for the next couple of minutes, but otherwise, thank you very much for attending this webinar. There will be a short survey afterwards regarding feedback and other webinars you may be interested in. Please fill it out. But once again, thank you for your time, and please reach out to us if you have any further questions or anything else you'd like to discuss.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
All right, we will be ending the webinar now. Thank you.